My guest here in studio is Pastor Moses Gashuhi, and he's the author of Broken Vows. Karibu sana to the show. Right. So it's been an interesting season for us because with COVID, a lot of us were like, yay, finally you get to spend time with your family or those kids that you never get to see.
True.
But then we're also hearing that domestic violence cases are on the rise and that a lot of marriages are in trouble. People attacking one another verbally, physically, mentally, psychologically. So it's almost like this thing that we thought would be good for our relationships has actually exposed a lot of the issues in those relationships.
I think what it gave us is most couples realize for the first time, maybe since the time they got married, they are now spending more time together. The things they never talked about, the things they kept under the carpet are now coming out because you're there every day. So if you had some secret conversations on your phone, you have to leave it there. Your wife or your husband will see, and you have to discuss it. Before you would avoid, say, I'm coming home late, then you leave home early. Now your life is open to your spouse, and that's the way it should be. When God put man and woman together, they were naked at that moment. But after sin, we were all covered. So we've learned how to cover our mistakes, how to cover the things we do in secret. But now being at home, there's a lot happening. And then you're spending a lot of time. And like for us men, we are not very conversational. So now you're here with your wife and she wants to talk the whole day. You have to look for conversations. Then the money issues will come up. This bill has not been paid. This one has not been done. Where do we buy food from? Kids want some video games or something. So, and then the husband, maybe he was the main provider and he doesn't have the money. You can imagine the pressure. And then instead of dealing with that pressure properly, you deal with your spouse physically. And that
So you attack the spouse.
You attack your
instead of
spouse instead of dealing with that current situation. It's like, it's a temporary situation we are going through as a country and all over the world. But then now you'll do something that is permanent. You kill someone or you injure them, you cut off their nose. After COVID-19, you'll be looking at your spouse without a nose.
Yeah, it's a very sad situation, and we've been seeing a lot of violence actually, even in the news, against both women and men. So this goes both ways.
Both ways.
But you've actually authored a book on broken vows.
Yes.
And I think well before COVID even, marriages did seem to be under some sort of distress because a lot of people, like you hear, they got married a few months later, the marriage rather is called off. So it's like we've just focused on the big day, like the wedding days, and we've not spent as much time like really diving into the marriage.
And one of the things I've realized is I was writing this book and checking through lives. Most of us, if we will be honest, we got married because maybe we thought it's the right time, or out of pressure, or there was a child, and we decided to get married. There was no preparation. We go to school, we study various subjects, we become experts. But when it comes to marriage, probably you meet 2 months, you're getting married. You haven't studied the institution, which you will live in for the next 100 or 70 years. But you only spend 2 months to try and know this person, and you have never read a book on marriage. And we think, someone told me, I don't need to study about marriage. It's automatic. I mean, we just live in the same house and things flow. And that's why we made a mistake. The preparation. For a strong building to stand, we dig a deep foundation because we want it to go high. So if we are going to live together with my wife for 70 years, I need to do some bit of investment in preparing for it. Last year alone, 2019, you had over 2,800 homicides. And when they look at the reasons, most of them say most of the couples were not prepared. But now they have to live together. And the violence there are many things into it. Some of us came from families that were violent. Most people never saw their parents deal with issues amicably. So they don't know how to talk. The only way maybe a woman knows how to talk is to throw a cup at the husband, and maybe she thinks I've expressed myself today and he got what I wanted to say. But that's not the way it should be. And so I think the reason we wrote Broken Vows is because we checked from the beginning. Maybe you've been married 2 years. From the beginning, when you stood on that altar, you committed to God and to men that I'll stay with this person for the rest of my life until death do us part. That was your commitment. But what happens along the way? Why are marriages breaking?
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I found is that when for example, when I got married to my wife, my expectation is that she will never hurt me. She will never say anything bad. She'll always be ready. If it's sex, it will be there every day. If I want food, it will be served. And for her, she also had the same expectation that I'll come home early every day. I'll provide. I will go out. You understand? But then we fail to understand that both of us are human beings. We make mistakes. In fact, Jesus said in Luke 17, you will be offended.
Yeah.
It is impossible that offenses will not come.
Yeah.
So this person you're getting married to will offend you. So why not prepare yourself to be offended and think of how to deal with it? And the best thing Jesus said is every day, forgive. If your spouse offends you 7 times, forgive.
Yeah.
So that we have peace at home.
Yeah.
But now you've had so many things under the carpet. We don't talk. We don't discuss issues. We don't forgive. There's a lot of resentment. Oh, you did this in 2011. You repeated it in 2013. I can't take this anymore.
Yeah.
And it's either I go or
And
we
maybe
part
let,
ways.
let's talk about that, because I think two things sort of seem to play in relationships today.
Yes.
One is that a lot of people sort of assume that marriage should be this walk in the park,
Yes.
that it's very easy.
Yes.
But si tulikuwa tunapendana.
Yeah.
Like before, when we were dating, like we couldn't wait to be with each other. Like what has happened?
I never saw you angry when you were dating.
I never saw you angry, which is very important, by the way. That's a dating tip. Very important to be
Yes.
able to do so.
True.
But part of what is happening now is you're seeing a lot of people don't even want to get married. They're even just, they're escaping. They're trying to jump to the end without this formal process, the thing that gives you legitimacy before God.
Yes.
They're like, wacha hiyo kitu ikae, so that if anything breaks out, I just go my way.
And I never really committed,
I never
by
really
the way.
committed to
And
you.
actually, they're asking who came up with these marriage vows.
Yeah.
Who said we must say
Yeah,
for
who
better,
said-
for us? You put us in this box.
Who said we're supposed to wear rings to show the world we are married?
Yes, and actually, those who have rings are cheating more than
Yeah.
those who don't have. But anyway, I asked one of my friends, is there a happily ever after in marriage? Is it real? And after a lot of discussion, we agreed it's not real. If it was a happily ever after, why are we killing each other? You know, it was supposed to be heaven on earth. But even when you read the Bible, we have several marriages that were not happily ever after.
Yeah.
I look at Jose and his wife. They will do well 2-3 days. The wife goes back to the streets.
Yeah.
God says, go get her back.
Yeah.
Are you sure they were laughing every day in the house? Knowing tomorrow you're going to leave again, go do your business.
Yeah.
I think it's a fallacy to think that you'll be happy every day. And then you get married thinking my spouse owes me that opportunity to be happy. I need to be happy by myself,
Yeah.
but also I need to be realistic and say, I will not be happy every day. There will be sicknesses. There will be loss of jobs. There will be arguments. There will be a lot of controversy. You don't know this person. You've been alone for, let's say you get married at 30. You've lived alone for 30 years. Then someone new comes into your life, you have to sleep in the same bed. See them
Telling
every
you
day.
where to put your socks.
You don't even know them. And they're trying to tell you how you should be. You don't know me. Who are you to tell me whom I should be?
Yeah.
So we have very little time to know each other. But then now we have an opportunity to grow together. So this happily ever after, we need to evaluate it. It's not real. If most of us couples would be real, we would say, honestly, we do argue. Some couples don't even sleep in the same bed. They're not divorcing, but honestly, tonight I don't feel like sleeping with you in the same bed.
Yeah.
I need to cool off. But honestly, when we go out, we hold hands, we smile, we give them a little kiss on the cheek, and people think, wow, that's the power couple.
Yeah.
Then you wake up to the news and you're like, what just happened?
What happened to
Yeah,
these
so
guys?
that happily ever after, we need to evaluate it and be honest with ourselves. There will be issues. There will be in-laws
Yeah.
who will come in.
Yeah.
There will be lack of children.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Abraham and Sarah had to wait 25 years. It's not easy.
I always say marriage, it takes work,
A lot.
but it works.
It works.
It really does.
It
It's
does.
And I think when you've committed yourself to to the end goal.
Yes.
Right, building one another, and also remembering that love is a choice, because sometimes you won't always feel like you're in love with the person, but
True.
you still love them,
You
you
still
care
love
for
them.
them, and you're concerned for them. Love is a choice, it's not a feeling. And I think people who walk around with this love as a feeling idea are the ones that are the first ones to exit out the door as soon as there's any sort of hint or trouble.
True.
But I want us to take a break now,
Yes.
because when we come back, I want us to talk about some of the red flags that people should be looking at.
All right.
Because maybe there are things that stand out to us even when we're dating, but we're so googly-eyed about like the idea of a big wedding you've dreamed about. Umeshapanga nguo. Hata
From
kabla,
3 years.
before even the person came into your life, ulikuwa umeshapanga nguo, unajua color scheme ni gani.
True.
And so sometimes you can literally idolize your wedding day, and you become so obsessed with it that you forget to open your eyes to possible realities that you will have to deal with.
Very
So I
true.
want us to talk about that when we get back from the break. And also just other pointers really from his book as far as relationships today, and more so how to start fixing those issues, so that this is not a doom and gloom segment. Okay,
True.
there is hope in
There is
all of
hope.
this. Yeah. So we're gonna take a break. Do SMS in your questions to 22999. You can also reach me on Facebook at Switch TV Kenya, and we'll be back shortly. Hey there, guys. Welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce. And we're here with Pastor Moses discussing broken vows and relationship issues and how to fix them. We're going to be getting to that as well. But he's told us quite a number of interesting things. Of course, as we're reflecting on the period we're in, relationships seem to be under a lot of stress and tension right now. And many of you are also sending in your questions and your feedback. So we want to jump straight into those first, and then we'll see, depending on the time we have left, we'll try and get back to some of the other pointers we had raised before. Someone here says, "Good morning, Joyce. I won't say my name, but I'd like to share my story here just briefly. I met this guy under weird circumstances, but because of love, we just got into it straight away. We moved in after some months. He has been good, I can't deny that. So after 3 years of staying together, I realized he's been dating this girl behind my back for like a year. I felt so betrayed, but we worked through it. I see these red flags, but I just find myself so obsessed with this guy." What would you say to this?
I wish she asked a question like, so what do I do? It looks like she's willing to stay.
It almost does,
And
yeah.
I'm going to work this through, because if you can overcome
A
infidelity.
whole year of cheating.
Yes.
It's not an occurrence, it's a whole year.
And it's because you found out.
Yeah.
So you're not sure it was 1 year.
Like a third of their relationship
Yes.
was
So
under false pretenses.
let's have this hope that she's willing to work it out. So I think then the discussion should be, is this thing going to keep recurring, or you're done?
But even the fact that she's saying she's so obsessed with this guy, what does that mean? That's the thing that really pings me. I'm like, what's that about?
They say love is blind. Yeah, open your eyes. But also I've realized that the woman who was dating Solomon, she said that love is stronger than death itself. So if she truly loves this man, she's willing to overlook all these other things just to stay with him. And that's why people do anything. If she had a chance to get the other woman, she will do anything to just make sure it's me and my man. And then it could be, if it's not love, then it's an obsession of jealousy or insecurity. I don't want to lose him.
Yeah.
Will I ever get someone else? But for this one, I would like to assume she's willing to work it out. So
Yeah.
let's not go on the negative side and say,
Because she's saying she sees them as red flags.
yes. And you see, for a man who's cheated before, it will really take a lot of time to build that trust again.
Yeah.
Whenever he goes out, you're wondering, who is he with? Who is he texting? But I think there is always hope. In this book, we discuss people whose husbands were cheating for all their lives.
Whoa.
But they stayed, and there was a transformation. Others cannot stay.
Yeah.
I know people who are willing to stay, and those who are not willing to stay. Is it because of kids or love?
Yeah.
Let's not judge that part.
Yeah.
I think her discussion with her spouse should be, how will things change moving forward?
Yeah.
Let's hope that she's willing to work it out. It also looks like her spouse, the guy, is not in a hurry to leave.
Yeah.
Because if there were very deep issues, they would have separated, he would go back to that other woman.
Okay.
What she needs to look out for are now continuous red flags. Does
Yeah.
he come home late? Does he have deleted messages? Is it continuous? Because the likelihood is the day they have a very serious conflict, the guy has a place to go.
Yeah.
You don't have somewhere to go.
Yeah, yeah.
So are you willing to go through that? Are you
Okay.
willing to endure that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone here says, Joyce, I tell you, there's a world of difference between dating and marriage. Some people make vows out of excitement because things were okay and working out your way. Now in marriage, things can turn sour and it's never the same again. That's where we need God more. Personally, I'm hurt compared to the times that have been happy in this relationship, but we can't jump into new relationships. They would also grow old. And then she chuckles. That's Olivia watching from Chogoria. Okay. Mwingine anasema, hey Joyce, I'm glad you brought this topic. Something I learned from ex-marriage, okay, was never expect anything. Just be true, be real, and in capital letters, they say communicate,
Yes.
forgive, and above all, keep God first. That's Ivy from Chuka. Very interesting comment there as well. Someone here says, good morning, Joyce and Pastor. I'm Marianne from Mombasa, loving the show as usual. Honestly, it's really sad to see couples killing one another. Ama kweli penzi ni sumu. Only God can guide us to destined relationships. Someone here says, Pasi, you're a blessing. And I'm going to be getting to some more of those feedback, especially as far as our giveaway is also concerned. But I want us to go back to these red flags. One of the things we talked about was, have you ever seen your partner angry when you're dating?
When you're dating?
Yeah.
Rarely. Because probably when you met and have dinner, you talked about very nice things, the children you'll have and how where you will live, and you laughed. Then you go home, you call, he's angry, but you won't see it.
Yeah, and you always have your best foot forward.
Yes.
So is that a red flag?
That's not in a bad way. What you should look out for, in fact, when young guys come to me and they're dating, I tell them, you know what, I pray that your relationship goes through fire before you get married. I pray that you get to a point where you really see this person angry, this person happy. I want to see your mother call you and how you respond. I want to see you, maybe you didn't make money today in your business and how it affects you, because that's the real you. But in dating, we are able to hide that a lot, because we assume in marriage it's going to be much better than this. So we create a heaven in marriage that you understand. So these red flags are always there. For example, in where there are violent relationships, it's prudent to find out in the person you're dating, what's their history. Is there violence in their parents' life or great-grandparents, and how did they deal with it? And how do you think about it?
Yeah.
Is it okay to hit a woman?
Yeah.
Listen to his response. On social media, if someone has been murdered, check if your spouse was one of the people who commented and say that they deserved it. Oh, if that's what you're thinking about someone else,
Yeah.
that's you out of the heart.
Yeah.
The mouth speaks.
Yeah.
So we also talk about like Cain. Cain was angry, and God asked him, why are you angry at your brother? And he went and killed him. So always look out for these things. Jealousy. Is he jealous? Overly jealous? Oh, I saw you with someone else. Why? Why did you call them? And you're not yet married. You wonder, why is this guy so obsessed with me? When we get married, will I ever leave the house?
And you know, I feel like I'm glad that you've brought up that word, because I think it's important for us to stay. Sometimes people say, like, we almost want to ring about someone being obsessed with us. Like, you know,
It's
you
a
want to go
good
and tell your
thing.
girlfriends, he's so
They'll die
obsessed
for
with
me.
me. Ay, dada, slow down. Kanyaga breaks.
Yes.
That's not okay.
Yes.
Because it's very telling of other issues, psychosocial
Especially the
issues.
control freaks. We discuss control freaks, people who control you.
Ati me, my boyfriend doesn't like when I wear
When I go to the supermarket, they'll call me, where are you? What did you do today? They always want to find out what you're doing and where did you stop and whom did you talk to, and you feel it's love. There's a couple we discuss here whose husband was that kind of guy, and they even got married. He was always home on time, does all the shopping. The wife was in heaven.
Yeah.
Then one day she wakes up with a pang on her head and she
Watcha.
wonders what changed.
Whoa.
But this guy was always very controlling, but in a loving way. She never saw it coming. So never never assume that person is an angel.
Yeah.
That's a human being. And the Bible says in Jeremiah that the heart of man is desperately wicked. There is a lot in a man's heart that you do not know. I would pray that as you date, ask God to show you, is there anything I need to know
Yeah.
before we get married?
Yeah.
Help me, Lord. You are
Yeah.
merciful. Only you know the heart.
Yeah.
Do they have another child? You know, so those stories are very many. There's always like another girl, like
Yeah.
another family somewhere
Speaking of another
in the
girl,
village.
speaking of another girl, there was another girl in the Bible.
Yes.
When Joseph was trying to get Rachel.
Yes.
And then Leah was there.
Yeah.
And you actually talk about
Where did
this in
she
the
come
book. You
from?
call it the
The
mystery,
mystery
of
of
Rachel.
Rachel.
Yeah.
Jacob loved Rachel. And they planned
Jacob,
the
yes.
wedding. It was awesome. It was glorious. Now, I don't know about their culture. How comes he got Leah at night?
Yeah.
And they're having sex, and it's not occurring to him that this is not the Rachel. I don't know how they were able to do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, he got Leah. He didn't love her at all.
Yeah.
The Bible says that he told Laban, I'm willing to work 7 more years to get my Rachel. And he did wait for 7 years
Can you imagine?
to get
A whole 7 years.
so 14 years
Yeah.
labor for this one woman. The reason we talk about the mystery of Rachel is this. You probably dated someone and you loved them with all your heart, but somehow you didn't marry that person. You met someone else, and because of pressure and maybe you thought you loved them, you marry them. Then in marriage, when there are issues and there's conflict, you start thinking about the one you really loved and how are they doing. And you're tempted to call them.
Wah.
How are you doing? Oh, I'm okay, but I'm lonely. Because they are your best friends, you go see them. So we discuss how men and women, in their pursuit for their first love, whom they never really got to marry, they now keep cheating with different people, just looking for Rachel. Can I find Rachel in this woman? Can I find Rachel in this man? I'm never satisfied with my spouse. I'm never feeling fully satisfied. And we say, you need to evaluate that. The problem is not your spouse. It is your heart. There's something you're pursuing.
So how does that work though? Because you need to take me back, because we are here saying that love is still a choice and you've made that vow to this person. So to be seeking this satisfaction from somewhere else, is it that it's something in your life sort of entertaining that appetite for this
It's
person?
an
or what
appetite,
is
it's
it?
a lustful appetite. So for example, if it's sex you're going for, the sex you have with your wife is not different with someone else, but it always seems like I need to go out. The number of spouses who go out every weekend with someone who is not their wife, you can't even count them. And the Bible says all these things, they defile the land. James said that we are drawn away because of our own evil desires. We have a desire, and when it's fully grown, we'll go for it. So you're at home with your legitimate wife, but every weekend you're forming
Your
very
heart is
many
somewhere
new
else.
wives. There's this woman who came to Jesus, and he told him, you know what? You have 5 husbands.
Yeah.
Husbands. So every man you've been with has become your husband through this union. And even the one you're pursuing is not your husband, it's someone else's. And Jesus told her, the problem is not those husbands. You are looking for something that only God can give you. And I came to give you that living water. And when she accepted Jesus and had peace, we believe she got settled
Yeah.
and overcame her lust.
Yeah.
So we say there are many men pursuing their first love, hoping they will ever find them, and they never find them. We say when you board a plane, you're going to the US or to Australia, you don't reach up there and you're like, pilot, I think I made a mistake. I wanted Virgin Atlantic.
Yeah.
You made a decision, wait until you get to your destination. There's no, you're
Yeah.
not turning back for you, man. So focus on what you chose, love whom you chose, and
Yeah.
God will honor that, because he honors those who honor their vows. He says in Ecclesiastes chapter 5 that it is better you don't vow than vow and don't keep it.
Yeah.
Why should I destroy the work of your hands because you did not keep your vow, which you made before me, God,
Yeah.
and in the presence of others?
And all the more important as to why we need to stop this rush about getting married.
Take your time.
Take your time, understand what it is you want, who you want to be with, and like commit, so that you don't end up laboring for 14 years. And out of your 14, you've only had really 7 with the person you wanted. Because there does seem to be this sort of escalation into just trying to get what I want and have it immediately. and we're not actually willing to pay the price, the full
Yes.
price for it.
Yes.
But as we get ready to wrap up here in a few moments, I
All
also
right.
want us to share hope too for those who are in broken relationships or broken, they're experiencing these broken vows maybe right now. This corona yani has just messed things up. They had really prayed that 2020 would be the year, but given where we are in the world now, it's been a little difficult. What is the hope then for those who are struggling? Where do they begin?
There was a man in the Bible called Ezekiel, and God took him in a valley of very dry bones. And God asked him, can these bones live? And he said, Lord, I'm not even sure. Things are bad. So if someone is looking at their marriage, they would honestly say, I'm not sure we'll go beyond this year. With this kind of man, this kind of woman, I can't take it anymore. So it's time to part. But God told him, no, before you say there's no hope, I want you to first speak hope. I want you to confess the right thing, that things will change. Because there's power in what we say. The reason we end up divorcing is you keep saying, I'm going to leave you, I'll go away, I'll go back to my parents. But there is power when you begin to say, Lord, you gave me this marriage, you gave me this man, I am praying for a change.
Yeah.
But also, we cannot escape. There is one of the comment of the SMS, she said, communication in capital letters. We really do need to talk and be honest with one another. Why aren't things working out? Why do you hate me? What did I ever do? Can we reconcile?
Yeah.
Can you forgive me?
Yeah.
There's a reason Jesus said forgive, because he knew if we keep this thing for long, it is going to crumble down. A house divided will crumble down. Let's discuss it. And we are two mature human beings, we can discuss things and sort them out. If we can't sort them out, can we go to someone else?
Yeah.
We are in a generation that is afraid to talk to mentors. They say they should be the ones to talk to us. And so your mentor will never come pursue you. You go look for help.
Yeah.
I am persuaded if most of these couples had someone to talk to, we would have saved very many marriages. That's why I believe having a book is good.
Yeah.
You may not reach me, but you can read it.
Okay.
And hope that something will change.
All right.
Yes.
And lots of people are actually asking about where they'll find the book. I'm going to ask you to share those details in a bit.
All
but
right.
also, I have a lot of SMSs.
Fine.
I need to figure out how I'm going to squeeze them in the few minutes
Just
we have
try.
left. So let's just try.
Just try.
Pastor Moses is a blessing, and the book is very timely. In capital, we need to read the book. That's Peter Ojambo from Jam.
All right.
Someone here says, I am Firebrand Faith, loving the talk. God bless you. Mwingine here says, Joyce, the reasons leading to breakups: cheating, no one putting effort, fell out of love, loss of trust, and unproductive. How do I know if my relationship is in, I guess, the right trap? Or is in a trap, maybe? Should being unproductive satisfy breakup in a relationship? Okay, I don't 100%
I think she's
understand
asking if we are not making progress, should it be a sign that...
Okay,
Yeah.
let's answer that then.
How do you evaluate progress? In this book, we discuss purpose. There's a reason the two of you came together.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons is not being happy. God actually says, I was looking for a godly seed. I needed Joseph and Mary because there was a Jesus. I needed Hosea and Gomer, the prostitute, because I needed the kids to send a message.
Yeah.
So first of all, find out purpose.
Yeah.
Why does our marriage exist?
And I love that you brought us. The purpose for you to get married is not just to show you that you have a ring. Like there's something that God wants to do with you two as a couple. Yeah, like see all the single ladies, you just go dancing around. No, that's not the purpose of marriage. Someone here says, Joyce, I have an issue. I've been married for 3 years now. When I make a mistake, my husband promises to forgive me, but whenever we differ again, he reminds me of every mistake I've ever done since we married. What should I do?
That's a unique husband. It's wise who remember details. But I think he needs to get to that point of not being selfish, because we show mercy that we may receive mercy. If I keep reminding you what you did yesterday, we are not moving forward. When you're in a race, you run forward. If you keep looking back, it doesn't work. So for me, I would like to see how we can reach out to the husband and let him know that you yourself, you need mercy.
Yeah.
You will make very serious mistakes and you'll need your wife to forgive you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jane Neuro Sims from Cambu is asking, loving the conversation with the pastor, but when you fall out of love with your partner, how do you handle it?
Fall out of love?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know whether she's married or not, but I want to assume she's not married.
Yeah.
So if if she fell out of love and they were dating, that's
that's
done.
it, yeah.
If you are never going to work it out, that's fine. But now if you are married and you fall out of love, you said, Joyce, when you started, that love is not a feeling.
It's a
It's
choice.
a decision. Same way you chose to wake up today, you choose to love this person. Ignore your feelings won't help you.
Yeah.
It is your decision to stay.
Absolutely.
Nehemiah told husbands, fight for your marriage. So it's a decision.
Yeah.
You choose to fight or not.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The show is Wow. I'm doing the listening. That's Binton from Naivasha. Asante sana. Mwingine anasema, Joyce, I've been with my husband for 5 years now. Our first 3 years we were very happy, but for the last 2 years he's been cheating. We talk about it, he changes for a few months, then the story repeats itself. I was afraid of losing him and starting all over again, but now I feel my love for him is kind of dead. Please help me on what I should do. We have a 1.5-year-old son.
You see, women, I feel for women. They are willing to stay.
Yeah.
90% of marriages, despite all this, they are willing to stay. But he's cheating. So the decision is, will I stay or go? If you go to scripture, Jesus did say, because you are unwilling to forgive, I give you permission. Moses gave you permission, you can divorce. But if we can salvage it, if we can reach out to the husband, if you can be able to read this book first before we call it quits, and just think through his life. Because one thing we also say in this book, all of us will stand before God and give an account for how we lived in our marriages.
Yeah.
So I wish there's a way, the wife is okay. I wish there's a way we'll reach out to the husband, because you can tell her to stay and the guy is not changing. So she stays in an abusive relationship emotionally, and we don't know for how long.
Okay.
Yes.
A couple more here before we wrap up. Someone says, it's Jackie, and during this time of Corona, my hubby's job went down to a point that he told me and my kid to go home because he can't manage us now. And I'm wondering, isn't marriage supposed to be for better, for worse? Again, she's the one willing to stay despite akiwa naume.
Go
Si
home
mtu
where?
zaidi hapa.
Like to the village or
I
something.
don't
Maybe I
know.
think she was told to go to the village. Maybe they have a home there. That situation depends.
Yeah.
Did he do it lovingly, like this just for this season,
Yeah.
as I get back to my normal self, get more money? Or is it out of malice, like, you guys, I can't take care of you anymore, just get out, you are my problem. I lost the job, now you're my problem, please go
liability
away
now.
from me.
Yeah.
Then that will be wrong.
Yeah.
Because as she's saying, it should be for better for us. Let's eat that ugali and skuma wiki, let's take water every day.
Yeah.
But me and you are not parting ways. This is where your vows are tested.
Yes.
Were you serious when you said for better
Yeah.
and for worse?
Yeah.
Yes.
And in fact, for me, I find, like, you know, when you go to a wedding, sometimes people think the reception is the biggest deal. Like,
Yeah.
for me, it's that ceremony.
That moment.
Those-
And God says in Malachi 2:14, I was a witness.
Yes.
Leave alone your guests.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was there
Yeah.
when you said in sickness and in health.
Yeah.
And the moment you realize I can't bear children, you left.
Yeah.
God says you will pay for that.
I never
Because
understand when
listened.
people are laughing in the middle of their vows. I'm just like, you
They've
people,
never,
do you
they
know
see
what you're
them on
doing?
the altar. When the priest is reading, then you repeat. They've never seen
Oh
the
my
vows
God.
before.
Wow. One more here. Ivy from Chuka says, Joyce, I learned to make sure if we are dating, lazima I provoke you. Yeah. I
That's
need to know
good.
the other side too. I don't want any more mistakes in my next
True.
Sitaki surprises.
Test every spirit. Test it.
And finally, to everybody that's asking about where they can get the book, they say
Yeah.
it looks very interesting and they're willing to buy a few copies. That's Honorable Mundia,
All right.
Jubilee Youth Leader.
All right.
He wants to buy a few copies. But how can they get the book and how much is it?
To get the book, kindly call this number 0725 875744.
Please repeat that.
0725 875744. You'll be advised. We are charging at 1,000 for now.
Okay.
We have an online option, but let them call this number and they will be advised on how to get the book.
Okay.
Because of the corona issues. If
Yeah.
you're within Nairobi, it's very easy to deliver.
Yeah.
Outside Nairobi, we have other arrangements.
Sure.
Outside Kenya, we pray that God makes a way soon.
Yeah.
Yes, but
All
thank you
right.
so much, Joyce.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed the conversation.
I have as well. If
Yeah.
you'd like to see him back on Full Circle with Joyce, let me know. 22999 is the SMS line. We'd be happy to host you again.
Thank you. Thank
And with that said, we need to take a break. Dennis is there. He's ready to come and work out over the next few minutes before we wrap up the show. That's coming up next. Stay tuned.